Hello Mystical Dragon family, it's Amanda here from Mystical Dragon. I wanted to be able to bring you a full moon video still. I couldn't do the usual Facebook Live last weekend. I just wasn't 100%, but I still wanted to be able to bring you some of that information. So I've just done this special video here today. So we're going to focus on this upcoming full moon, which is a Pisces full moon that we have coming up. And for us here in Melbourne, Australia, that will be on Saturday, September the 10th. We are 7:59 p.m. that it will be at that completely full space. But in London, it will also be on September the 10th, but at 10:59 a.m. In New York, it will still be September the 10th, but at 5:59 a.m. The key focuses for a Piscean full moon, we get all very spiritual and dreamlike, lots of those wonderful, soft and flowing kind of energies that come in with the Pisces energy for us. So you can work with your dreams, whether it's trying to manifest dreams or understanding your dreams, so any kind of dream work. Things like clairvoyance, trying to enhance your clairvoyance and your intuition, trying to have more of a psychic connection, doing divination. Every full moon, it's a really great idea to focus on some divination, but particularly full moons like the Pisces full moon is an ideal one. We're going to be more receptive, more connected, more tuned in. So divination is definitely something to focus on this full moon. Inspiration, compassion, peace, imagination and visualization are all key energies. Being able to see the big picture is another one with this Piscean energy. The creative arts, so things like music, any kind of dance, or just being creative on any level is going to be really enhanced or be able to be enhanced at this full moon. Meditation, healing, literally any kind of spiritual work. So if you are doing something that is even doing workshops and reading and those kind of more practical things to help enhance and develop any kind of spiritual work or intuitive work, this weekend coming will be that ideal time to do that. Now also the Piscean energy focuses our healing. Particularly more powerful is trying to heal any issues with feet and lymph glands, because Pisces rules over those areas. But of course, all healing will be amplified at this full moon. It is a potent one for that. Plus, of course, at all full moons, this is the ideal time to be charging up our crystals, to be charging up any of our sacred tools, to be making things like moon water, very potent time at the full moon. Any kind of magical work or manifestation work, any kind of meditation or healing work, any kind of divination, it all gets amplified at every full moon, but particularly so at this Pisces full moon. So I still want to give you a few ideas, just kind of expanding on a couple of those key areas. So I've got two for you today. One that we have focused on in our full moon box that we do. We do a monthly full moon box at Mystical Dragon, which contains a spell that we kind of walk you through all the steps through our beautiful spell page that I make, and contains all the bits and pieces that you need. So connecting with elementals is actually going to be really powerful at this full moon. And I feel particularly, especially here in the Southern Hemisphere, because we're moving into spring. So we've got that change of season, and the spring energy brings a lot of elementals out to start helping to revitalize and refresh and bring the earth back to life. So this can be a good time to work with some of those elemental energies, or at least consciously try to connect with some of those elemental energies. So this could be like the fairies, this could be dragon energy, your merfolk, all the different kind of elementals you can think of. You might decide that you want to particularly connect with one of them. Our full moon box is connecting with the Fae in particular, and all of the elementals, they're usually very happy to help us with our manifesting. So long as we take the time to consciously try and connect with them, perhaps do a few things that make them feel special, like put out some offerings for them or adjust our altar in their honor, then they're usually very happy to assist us with any kind of manifesting work that we are doing. So some of the suggestions I would have if you're wanting to connect, let's say you want to connect with the fairies, then add some items to either your existing altar or create an altar that is separate, that is particularly going to be for the fairies. So you might want to create that outside, or you can still have it inside if that suits you best. Put items perhaps that represent the fairies on their altar, because most of the elementals love to see images of some sort on your altar. So whether it's statues, photos, whatever it happens to be that you have on hand, even your own drawings and sketches, paintings, things like that, you know, that's still representative of them. With the Fae, they love things like crystals, they love shiny sparkly things, and they do love offerings, particularly for the Fae. They love sweet offerings, so things like honey, coloured sugar is another one that I've used many times for them. So maybe consider doing something like that. So set them up an altar, whether it's a permanent or temporary one, and put a few things that represent the Fae to you. So make sure it's colourful as well with the fairies. You know, maybe add some flowers or some plants, some stones you've collected. Bring some of the elements that are particularly connected to whichever elemental you're trying to work with. Bring them onto your altar as well, because they usually do appreciate that also. Don't forget, maybe put a candle or two so that you can light a candle in their honor and be able to have a chat with them, whether that's out loud or quietly in your own mind, having a conversation. Do meditation and invite them in. Create a connection with them in meditation. You know, take yourself away to a forest where you can connect with them, or in your meditation, you know, have an explore in your own garden through meditation. What fairies or what elementals do you find there? Are they receptive to having conversation with you? You know, work that way, see what is there, and kind of maybe go from there, go that way. But definitely do some meditation and connect with them. And then you can do any kind of manifestation work, or simply just, you know, regularly be taking time to stop and say thank you for what they're doing in your garden or in your surrounding area, all the work they're doing with the plants and all of those sorts of things. You know, taking time, maybe putting out an offering every now and again as part of that thanks. So I know that they will appreciate that, and this is the perfect time to start doing that. I would also encourage you with your intuition and divination for this full moon especially. So like I mentioned, both of these are definitely areas that usually work at a full moon, but will be even more amplified at this full moon. So you can honestly just do some of those, you know, maybe pull out your tarot cards or pull out your runes or whatever sacred tool it is that you like to use for divination and you feel a bit confident with. Definitely do some meditation. You might purposely go look for some meditations that maybe will help with that intuitive connection. So for instance, doing some chakra clearing can be really helpful for your intuitive connection. That will enhance, you know, that psychic connection that you have. So you might purposely do that. I also have 4 spells on Mystical Dragon's Book of Shadows on our website. 4 different spells that connect with being able to enhance your intuition, or being able to work on a particular goal that's a more spiritual orientated goal. So check that out too at mysticaldragon.com.au. Underneath the Book of Shadows tab that we have there, there's about 40 spells with, you know, everything that you need outlined and how to perform those spells all outlined there too. But if you wanted to put together your own spell that was connected to perhaps opening and expanding your intuition a bit more, or even doing something a little bit simple before you stop to do your divination to help yourself get in the right space and have a strong connection before you do some divination, then I would suggest calling on a divinity. Perhaps like a crone goddess is really ideal, because they tend to be the ones that are really, you know, connected to that real wise energy, that real strong wisdom energy. You could also call on a goddess like Goddess Orset or Goddess Isis. She's one of my favorites, as many of you guys out there know. Bridget is another good one. Of course, you know, an energy like Rhiannon, Sarasvati, Freya is another really good one. Selene, who also connects to the moon, is a really beautiful goddess to call on. Even if you'd prefer that masculine energy, someone like Horus is a really great energy that works with intuition and would be useful as well. On a candle level, focus on something like a purple or a silver candle or a white candle to light in honor of that intuitive side of yourself or spiritual side of self. Consider essential oils or herbs like nutmeg, frankincense, myrrh, mugwort. There's quite a few out there that have those psychic connections, so you could either use one or create a nice blend that you enjoy the smell of to be able to use while you're doing your divination or as part of a spell. Crystals, there's plenty of psychic crystals you could use in a spell. Amethyst is like the obvious one that lots of people feel called to use and connect with, but you could also work with like a lapis lazuli, a labradorite, a lepidolite crystal. Moonstone is a beautiful one, has also got that strong feminine and strong moon energy connection with moonstone, and any variety of moonstone will work really well for that for you. Selenite is another really beautiful one. Apophyllite, there is honestly plenty out there, so you might already have something at home that you can pick up and use on that intuitive psychic level. And of course, you could simply use this time to be able to maybe do a little blessing with your divination cards or whatever tool it is that you like to use. This would be a nice time if you haven't had an opportunity to do that yet, or maybe have some new tools that, you know, that this is a good time to perhaps do a little cleanse them, do a little blessing over them, what your intent is for them, how you intend to use them going forwards. And you know, this could be an ideal time to be able to do that as well. And as I mentioned earlier, just doing any kind of practical thing. So don't always think about it having to be a spell or ritual focused thing at our full moons. So you can decide you're going to pick up a particular spiritual book maybe that you haven't quite had a chance to have a look at yet. Perhaps do some study of some sort, like do a workshop, whether it's face-to-face or online. Go get a reading from somebody else, or use your divination tools and do a reading for yourself. Focus in on a particular area or a particular question that you might have. So these are just some suggestions for this upcoming Piscean moon. I also briefly wanted to mention the day before our full moon, we also have a 9/9 energy portal, and that occurs every year on the 9th of September. And so this year is no exception to that. Our 9/9 energy portal, which we're already in the building energy for, the 9/9 is a portal that really helps us in releasing, in accepting transition and change, and being able to let go of anything that does not serve us anymore. And that can be across any level of our life or our being. So it might be trying to shift and shake a particular belief or belief system that we have, or it might be doing a big physical cleanse in the house, clearing out any clutter. You might already be feeling called that, you know, you want to clean and you want to declutter and do those sorts of things. That's very much that 9/9 energy that's going on. So if you're already finding perhaps, you know, life is being shaken up at the moment, it could be because of this 9/9 energy. It always, we have a build up of energy in the lead up to that energy portal, and then on the day itself, that's obviously going to be the heightened energy. So you could perhaps do some spell or ritual work that's focused around you being able to release on some level, maybe releasing certain blocks that you feel are in the way, even things like fears or doubts that might just be holding you back on particular levels. Even just a simple like burning ritual. I love doing burning rituals for releasement, and you can keep it as simple as writing down on a piece of paper some of those things that maybe keep coming up for you, or you're feeling like are holding you back. So writing down some of the things you want to release and let go of, and burning them in your cauldron. You can call in a divinity to assist with that releasement and to help guide you through that process, because once you do that ritual, of course, you'll be triggering things. So stuff might start to happen, opportunities, people making contact, all sorts of things to kind of help you be able to release the things that you're asking. And so you might decide to call on maybe an angels, or your guides, or a divinity to assist in that. But you can keep it as simple as writing on your piece of paper, pouring out whatever you need, you know, fold that up, set it alight, and burn that in your cauldron. And, you know, there's your ritual, there's your releasement. I like to follow things like that with a bit of divination afterwards, but being that it's right the day before the full moon, you might decide to do your divination at the full moon itself, the day after. Also, we have Mercury that is going into retrograde as well at this time. So hold on to your hats, because we're already in the shadow of Mercury retrograde, and it has been a bit of a doozy for quite a few people in the leading up to. So the couple of weeks we have Mercury in retrograde, I'm sure will keep us busy and entertained, let's put it that way. And especially as Mercury goes into retrograde with 5 other planets. So we certainly are being shaken up at the moment. You might find that your world is feeling a little bit restricted, that maybe the energies are feeling really heavy for you at the moment. Maybe you are being called to make lots of changes and it's feeling overwhelming. This is probably some of that retrograding influence, because we do have 5 planets in retrograde, with Mercury about to go properly into retrograde on the 10th. So know that Mercury is going to influence communication. So there could be miscommunications or more miscommunications. So try and be really careful with how you share your message with people. And also the listening to other people, making sure you're reading things properly, you know, read things a second time if you need to, all that kind of stuff. Plus, make sure you've backed up your computers, because Mercury also has influence over electrical devices. So you can find your computer, your internet, your phones, these kind of all play up more. You can even end up with them crashing completely and you losing some of your work. So back up regularly, you know, do some of those smart practical things. It also has influence over our car. So if you're having any car issues, you've been concerned about your car, then maybe try and get it looked at, get that service done, or whatever you need to this week before we go properly into the Mercury retrograde, just to try and safeguard for yourself. But Mercury rules over a lot of these common elements of our modern life. So that's why it gets talked about the most. It has strong influences over, you know, those aspects. So looking forward to catching up with you guys again in the near future. I hope you have found this to be helpful to even just assist you in where maybe you need to be focused at the moment, or focused this weekend. I will have a spell video going up separate to this, where I take you through the spell from our full moon box, for anyone that just would like that little bit of extra guidance as well. So thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to seeing you again in future. Bright blessings for the full moon.